The inheritance dispute of Debby and her evil uncle. I'm Debby. I'm a 19-year-old female, and I'd always lived a normal life with my parents, never imagining that we were secretly millionaires. But everything changed when my family died in a tragic accident, leaving me all alone in this world. As I was going through their belongings and settling their affairs, I stumbled upon a revelation that left me stunned. My parents had left me a gigantic inheritance that I had no idea even existed. Suddenly, I found myself the owner of a vast fortune, with more money than I knew what to do with. But my joy was short-lived, as my Uncle Daniel, my father's brother, appeared on the scene. He was livid, claiming that he invested in the inheritance with my father and deserved half of it. He was an evil man, always looking for ways to get his hands on other people's money. I'd always known that my Uncle Daniel was greedy and selfish, but I had no idea just how far he was willing to go to get what he wanted. He had a history of manipulating and scheming to get his hands on other people's money, and he saw me inheritance as the perfect opportunity to strike. He tried every trick in the book to sway me, using his charm and charisma to try to win me over, but I saw right through him. I was determined not to let him get away with any of it. I hired some of the best lawyers I could to fight for my rights, and we battled it out in court. The fight was long and grueling, with Daniel pulling every dirty trick he knew to try to make my inheritance his. He even tried to play on my emotions, claiming that my parents would have wanted him to have a share. But I knew that was a lie. I stood my ground. As the drama played out, I began to uncover more secrets about my family's past. Secrets that I never could have imagined. I discovered that my Uncle Daniel had always been envious of my father's success, the success I never knew about, and he had been scheming to get his hands on his money for years. Just when I thought I'd finally won the battle, a twist occurred that left me reeling. Daniel revealed that he had a secret of his own. A secret that could change everything. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is a 4-update series. It's an inheritance drama, and it has to do with an evil uncle named Daniel. You're about to witness some pretty slimy things from this Daniel person. Guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that button. And let's jump into update number 1, which came out 5 weeks after the original post. I was terrified as I stood there in the courtroom facing off against my Uncle Daniel. He'd brought me to court, determined to claim a share of the inheritance that my parents had left me. He had presented a letter as evidence claiming that my father had promised him a share of the money. But I knew that the letter was fake and forged by Daniel in a desperate attempt to get his hands on my inheritance. I hired a team of forensic experts to examine the letter. They quickly confirmed that it was in fact a forgery. But I was still worried that the judge might not see it that way. Maybe the evidence was dismissible. Daniel was a smooth talker, and he had a way of twisting the truth to suit his needs. The trial was long and grueling, with both sides presenting their cases and calling witnesses to the stand. I was absolutely exhausted and overwhelmed, but I refused to give up. I knew that my inheritance was at stake, and I was determined to fight what was rightfully mine. As the closing arguments were made and the judge prepared to deliver his verdict, I held my breath and crossed my fingers. Would I be able to keep my inheritance, or would Daniel succeed in taking it from me? The tension of the courtroom was palpable as we waited for the judge's decision. Finally, he spoke. I've carefully considered all the evidence presented in this case, and I've reached a decision. But before he could reveal his verdict, there was a sudden commotion in the back of the courtroom. Someone burst in. The police were trying to stop them, but they were shouting and waving with a piece of paper. "I have new evidence," the person shouted. "Evidence that could change the whole game." The judge banged his gavel, trying to restore order to the chaotic scene. "Who are you? What is this evidence you have?" he demanded to know. The person stepped forward, revealing themselves as a private investigator hired weeks back by Debby. "I have proof that Daniel tampered with that letter." the investigator said, holding up a video. I caught him red-handed on camera. The judge took the video and watched it, and we watched his expression grow serious. Daniel's face turned pale, realizing that his plan had been exposed, and the judge turned to Debbie and Daniel with his expression grave, saying, "I've seen enough. I'll need to review this evidence more before making my final decision." And then he dismissed us, adjourning the court, leaving Debbie and Daniel in suspense as they've waited to learn for their fate. Who would emerge victorious in this battle for inheritance, Debbie wondered. The outcome was still uncertain and the future hung in the balance. Update number 2 is coming, and now we return a week later, waiting for the judge's decision, and it starts like this. I'm still waiting for the judge's decision. The wait has been absolutely torture on my mental health, with every day feeling like an eternity as I wonder what the future holds next. I've tried to distance myself and distract me from focusing on my studies and my future plans, but it's hard to think of everything and anything else when so much is at stake. My Uncle Daniel had been uncharacteristically quiet during this time. I can't but help but wonder what he was up to. Finally, the day of the decision arrives and we go back to court. I dress in my best suit and head to the courthouse, my heart racing with anticipation. As I entered the courtroom, I see Daniel sitting on the other side, his face a mask of smug confidence. The judge enters the room and takes his seat, and I hold my breath as he begins to speak. "I've carefully reviewed all the evidence in this case," he says with a voice grave, "and I've come to my decision." My heart's pounding in my chest as the judge pauses, gathering his thoughts. In light of the new evidence presented by the private investigator, I have no choice but to overturn my previous ruling. Debbie, you are the rightful owner of the inheritance, and Daniel's claim is hereby denied. I can hardly believe what I'm hearing. I've won! I feel a surge of joy and relief wash over me, and I can't help but break out into a smile. But I guess you can say my victory is short-lived, as Daniel explodes with rage in the courthouse, saying, "This isn't over." He shouts, jumping to his feet, "I'll see you in court again, Debbie. I will get what's mine." I ignore him because I've already won the case, buddy. I turn to the judge and thank him for his fairness and justice, and I leave the courthouse. I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders. I've won the battle, and I'm ready to move on with my life and make the most of my inheritance. But as I walk away, I can't help but wonder what other challenges and twists lay ahead. I know that Daniel will stop at nothing to get what he wants, and I must always be on guard. Still, I am confident that I have the strength and determination to overcome whatever comes my way. Alright guys, Mr. Edito here. So things seem to be laying low for quite some time. There was no update from OP for 6 whole months, and everybody in the comment section just thought it was over. Oh, we were wrong. Update number 3, 6 months later. Hey guys, sorry it's been so long. It's been 6 months since the dramatic events in the courtroom, and I'm happy to report that things have been relatively quiet. My Uncle Daniel has been uncharacteristically quiet since his claim to the inheritance was denied, and I've been able to move on with my life. I've been busy building the new future for myself, using my inheritance to invest the education and future. I've been studying hard, working towards my dream of becoming a lawyer, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. But everything changed one night. When I was awoken by a loud noise in my house, I sat up in bed, my heart racing with fear as I listened to the sound of footsteps coming closer and closer. I realized when I heard him sneeze. It was my Uncle Daniel, and he was coming for me. He was in a drunken rage and had broken into my house and was determined to take everything by force. I knew that I had to act fast, so I grabbed my phone and hid under my bed. I called the emergency hotline as quietly as I could. The police arrived just in time, arresting Daniel on breaking and entering charges. With his extreme criminal history, I have a feeling that this might be enough to put him away for a very long time. I am relieved and grateful to be safe, and I know that I have the strength and determination to overcome anything that comes my way. As I look to the future, I'm filled with hope, and excitement. I know that there will always be challenges and twists, but I'm ready to face them with the courage and determination that I have. And I will always remember the lessons that I've learned on this journey, using them to guide me as I make my way into this world. Okay, Mr. Edito here, so it seems all is well in OP's world. Her uncle is looking at some prison time for the breaking and entering. She's 100% okay, she has all her money, and now she feels safe. Guys, I'll be real with you. There was one more update for this story, and it did not come out for a year and a half. This is the final update that this account has ever posted, and I have it here for you now. Well, I thought I lost the details to this account, but I know it's been a few years since I've last updated on the situation, and, well, a lot has happened into intervening time. My Uncle Daniel! Yeah, do y'all remember him? He was sentenced to 8 years in prison for breaking his parole, which he had been on for over 10 years. I was relieved and grateful that he would be locked up and unable to cause any more trouble for the foreseeable future. But I was also saddened by the fact that I had no other family left. All my remaining relatives were as crazy as my Uncle Daniel, and I had no desire to have anything to do with them. I was all alone in the world with only my memories of my parents to keep me company, but I refused to let my loneliness hold me back. I threw myself into my studies and my work, forcing on building a bright future for myself, and eventually that hard work paid off. I was accepted into a prestigious law school in Ireland. I jumped on that opportunity to start fresh in a new country. I packed my bags and made the move across the pond, leaving behind my troubled past and embracing my new life. In Ireland, I found some sense of peace and purpose that I've never known before. I threw myself into my studies, determined to make the most of my opportunity, and when I wasn't studying, I spent my time exploring the beautiful countryside and immersing myself in the rich culture of my new home. Eventually, I graduated from law school with top honors and began working as a successful lawyer. But I found that my true passion laid elsewhere I didn't even know about. I had always had a little love for horses, and I did deep down dream of starting my own horse farm. So I used my inheritance and took a chance. I followed my heart, using my inheritance to buy a piece of land and build my dream farm. Today, I'm the proud owner of a thriving horse business and stable, with a stable full of happy and healthy horses. I still think about my parents all the time, and I wish that I had any remaining family that wasn't absolutely insane like my Uncle Daniel, who's locked behind bars. But I'm grateful for the lessons that they taught me and the love that they gave me. And I know that they would be proud of the life that I've built for myself. Guys, as I look to the future, I'm filled with hope, I'm filled with excitement. I found my passion and my purpose, and I'm determined to make the most of every single day. I may be alone in this world, but I'm surrounded by the love and support of my friends and beloved horses, and I'm grateful for another chance to start over and build a new life in this beautiful country. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to mention, I've been dating this lovely local boy. He's showing me a sense of care and compassion I haven't felt since my parents were alive. Thank you to everybody for listening and following me over these years for my life journey. This is not a goodbye. This is a farewell. The comment section on this one was wild. A lot of people were talking about how they've had almost similar inheritance problems. Even if it wasn't an uncle, maybe it was an aunt or a brother, they were just mad that they did not receive, quote, the share fair, even though every single indication was showing that Daniel is just a big old piece of poop. He's been arrested numerous times, been convicted, he was on bail, or whatever he was on, and then he makes a drunken decision to try to break into the house of OP. If it wasn't for her quick thinking, able to call emergency services, who knows what would have happened? I think he deserves to be exactly where he is, and I'm just glad OP got away, had a chance to go to Ireland and start that horse farm she's always dreamt about. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have maybe a little bit of advice, that you would give OP, or just tell me how you would have handled your crazy uncle during such a trying time of losing two parents. Drop it down below. Let's talk about it, guys. Thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you in the next one.